Good morning, everybody. Well, I'm very thankful to have been invited to speak here today. My name is Matthew Kenslow, and over 20 years ago, I received a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder. So autism being a neurodevelopmental disability,
Great job.
I prefer to view it as a different ability to live life. Autism is like an enhancer that's plugged into my brain that enhances my perceptions of things in life. So what I mean by that is this. What's hard for me could be easy for other people, but what's easy for other people could be difficult for me. Within the past 20 years, I have observed and come to terms with both the pros of autism on one hand and the cons on the other hand. So the ups and the downs, the positives and the negatives. And some of the negatives include these. It's hard to concentrate. Reading, test taking, trying to go to sleep at night have been a struggle for me. I was usually the last person to finish a test in school because I wanted to get everything correct and everything understood. Homework took a long time. And then you also might be noticing I'm trying my best to pronounce every syllable that I'm speaking. And that's because when I was 3 years old, I was diagnosed with a speech delay. So I had to take speech therapy from preschool to high school, which helped a lot. And then there's the social factor of autism, which I contend is a big factor for us. I've made hundreds of friends by the time I graduated high school, but it was always hard for me to put my foot forward and ask any of them if I could spend time with them. I usually waited for my friends to come to me, which rarely happened. So I wouldn't say that I was antisocial. I desired to socialize, but I was just very nervous. And I have many videos actually up on YouTube that talks about the social aspect. And I don't think that there's a coincidence that the longest chapter of my first book, Juggling the Issues, is titled Shyness and Social Interactions. And whenever people ask me or interview me for things, they usually ask about the social factor as well. So I came up with a card trick analogy that I'll start now and conclude later, but as we grow older, we start to make some friends, and then we make more friends, and then we make a lot of friends, and pretty soon you'll have a stack of friends. And friends are good, especially strong, supportive friendships, but what might it look like for a person with autism? Well, stay tuned for that, I'll conclude that later. And then I also had my share of being teased for having autism, which started in kindergarten. A couple of my classmates said, "Go away, Matthew, you're not playing with us." And when I got older, some people name-called me, and at one point chucked a handball at my face to get me to go away in the middle of elementary school. By middle school, the amount of teasing went down, and the amount of friendships continued to go up, but it was still hard for me to hang out with my friends. I will say that by 11th grade, I started to talk to my friends more, explain I'm just a shy person, and they helped me out accordingly. So you can imagine that shyness brings loneliness, and discrimination or bullying brings hurt. But nevertheless, I never allowed the trials of autism to stop or slow me down in any way. I continued to develop the skills with which to entertain people and ultimately make a difference in people's lives. In 3rd grade, I picked up piano playing, which became a catharsis. And in 5th grade, I became a juggler. So there's some juggling tricks. So again, within the past 20 years, I have observed and come to terms with the pros on one hand, and darn it, the cons on the other hand. But yeah, so I came up with a juggling trick, juggling analogy. That juggling represents passion, and whatever your passions are, first, passion is what brings you joy in life, what you want to do. And whatever your passions are in life, never give up on them. And if anything happens along the way, a mistake, a big mistake or a small mistake, and something drops, well then what do? Do you hide under the covers? Do you give up? I say no, you bend down, pick it back up, and keep going, and from there, you can do more amazing things. So here's some juggling tricks. And then again, if anything drops, you just pick back up and keep going. want to see 4?
Yes.
Okay. You saw 4. Woo! Okay, so again, that became a catharsis. So, before I pull out clubs, which look like bowling pins, I want to first give what I call my be number 1 encouragement. So, I encourage everyone to be number 1, and being number 1 shouldn't be viewed as like a competition. I believe everyone could be number 1 at any time, and here's how you do it to my definition. You know what you want to do in life, and you know what's going to bring you joy. Yet, even in the face of adversity, such as a disability of any kind, or an illness, or being teased, you choose to never give up on what you want to do and who you want to be in life. And at the same time, you don't set standards based on other people, you base them upon your own self and what you can handle. What I mean by that is this: it's okay to look at professionals and be influenced by them, but don't try to be them, be yourself. Because we are all unique just the way we are, and we all have different skill sets and different levels of mastery per skill. In other words, some people could be good at these things but not yet to those things, and it's part of what makes us unique. I believe that disability or not, anybody can do whatever they set to their heart and mind to do, and behind the disability, we have a heart and we have a mind. And that's my number 1 encouragement. So these are called clubs. I'm just curious if people can hear me in the back. Somewhere. Okay. So I talked about some of the negatives of autism, and here's some of the positives of autism. Can someone give me a number between 1 and 9?
8.
8, and somebody else?
4.
2. Okay, let's start 2. So 108 times 102 is 11,016. And can someone give me a number between 41 and 59? 42. Okay. Oh my God. 5,042 times 5,042 is 25,421,764. Mathematics to history. Can someone give me a number between 1 and 46?
45.
36? Well, I think I first heard someone said 30. Said 30.
6.
So 36. Okay. All right. Our 36th president was Lyndon Baines Johnson, who served from November 22nd, 1963 to January 20th, 1969. He died January 22nd, 1973, and was born August 27th, 1908. So I don't have a photographic memory, even though I was accused of having a photographic memory all my life, but I just find patterns of things, and these are a special interest of mine. I always loved math and science and such. And so I have another analogy called my science demo analogy, and it's going to be interesting holding the mic, but this is a water bottle, and it represents a person, and now let's say that this person has a disability of some sort. And what I want people to understand is nobody asks to have a disability, whether it's autism or Tourette syndrome or muscular dystrophy or to be confined to a wheelchair. Nobody asks to have a disability, whether physical or developmental, whether they were born with it or it was acquired sometime in their life. And so I therefore contend that it's unfair when people take this one attribute of a person and make fun of them as a result. And if that continues, this is what might happen. They might start to feel twisted inside. And what this might represent is, well, first on the outside, if you look at them on the outside, they look okay, but if you can see them on the inside, they might feel twisted, lonely, pain, and such. And if they continue to bottle things up inside, this is why I contend it might happen. And then all of a sudden you have an opaque cloud inside. And what this represents in real life might be like an emotional breakdown, embarrassment, and the person might retwist themselves and due to not having free hands, they might retwist themselves. It goes away for a while, but then it's just going to come back. And what I tell students in my volunteer assemblies is release the cloud in the bottle, and here's how it looks like in real life. You know, you find someone that you can trust. It could be a parent, a teacher, administrator, someone that you can trust, pastor, someone that you can trust, and release things. And just release things and explain what's inside your heart and mind, thereby releasing the cloud in the bottle. And so that cart analogy that I had, one second, that if I could just get the cards. The card trick analogy, which represents the stack, there we go, the stack of friends that you have. Again, friends are good, but what might it look like for a person with autism? Well, on the outside, it looked like I had a lot of friends, and thankfully I did, but they were more superficial, more hi and goodbye. I hardly hung out with people after school, during the weekends, during week-long breaks, during summer vacation, and there came moments in my life where I felt frustrated, and it just felt, or there were friends that I've had that I was considering, should I call them, should I communicate with them, and I tried to after school, but it was just hard. And again, there came moments in my life where I felt as if I was all alone and the only person there was just one. And so like, where did all the friends go? So what the point of this illusion is to show what it might feel like for a person who has autism, who has shyness and feels alone. And that's why I'm a proponent of disability inclusion. And so what I tell students in schools is to imagine yourself as a big team. Team is T-E-A-M, together everyone achieves much, or together everyone achieves more, we're stronger together. So if you see someone like sitting alone or possibly being teased, then take them out of that situation, be a friend to them, and help them feel included. Introduce them to your friends, and find out what they like and find out what they don't like, which comes by talking with them and having a conversation with them, again, helping them feel included. And once that happens, you realize that your friends were there the whole time. So that's my. But some of us might say the words "I can't," and I contend that this is a negative mindset to have. So on the post-it note here, I put the words "I can't." But let me show you how quickly it could be to choose to go from a negative mindset to a more positive one. You could say "I can't" to "I can," and now in big green letters it says "I can." Now I admit that may not be as, I admit it may not happen overnight, but what is quick as lightning is your choice to choose to believe in yourself. I mean, a lot of us could give encouragements, but in the end, it's their choice, and I hope that they choose to say, I can do this, I could do this. This is kind of really spontaneous, but you know, the story about the football reminded me when I was in high school, and we played, it was either football or flag football, but I was at Newport Harbor High School, and this was like in 2010, and there came a moment when some of my teammates, because they had to be my teammates, didn't seem to appreciate me for who I am. But there's that one time in September 2010 when I had that in my hand, I had a clear line and I made a touchdown. I'm not really into sports, but I took that and I threw it down on the ground in victory. Well, I never allowed autism to have the prerogative to stop me in what I want to do and everything. And by high school graduation, I earned a medal that's equivalent to rank to the Eagle Scout Award. I later got a couple of science degrees, a full math teaching credential. This past May, I got a master's in education, and I'm a substitute teacher. I also, on the site, thanks. I also, on the site, do volunteer assemblies. So if you're a part of schools across Orange County, and I've already spoken to 10,000 students and 500,000 more to go, and I'm willing to do this at my expense. So if you're familiar with schools in like Brea or Brea and elsewhere, I'm willing to do assemblies. again, voluntarily at my expense, and just basically speak to the students what I spoke here. And it's a number one goal of mine. So I kind of declared myself as being unstoppable, and that's what I called my second book that just came out a year ago, December. And I'm thankful that I'm able to sell some over here on the table. And it just chronicles my journey through student teaching at Ensign and Newport Mesa Unified, and my adventures as a substitute teacher, insofar as being called the best sub by dozens of students in schools, several schools. So I'm very appreciative of that. And so in conclusion, thank you very much for listening. And so I have a couple of juggling finales. Okay, 3 different shapes and sizes all at the same time. Thank you so much.
I don't know about you guys, but I know I'm buying one of those books.
Today was just magnificent. After I got off stage, everyone was like complimenting me and coming up to me and having conversations with me from that point until it was over, even after it was over. And I got so many compliments, but one of them, a person told me that she understands a bit more about autism now, and another person right after her told me that he's heard a lot of motivational speakers in his life, and he said that I was the best. So I was very appreciative of that. And one of the biggest blessings of all is that my books that I brought were sold out. I mean, completely sold out, and I'm actually even surprised. I brought like, I think 35 of them, and I'm just very thankful. And I signed like 14 of them, and then other people took my cards, including my card saying that I'm willing to volunteer doing assemblies at my expense all across Orange County. And as you heard, I said that on stage, and there were a lot of people that came up to me saying they have connections for schools in like Fullerton and Irvine and Brea, so they'll be reaching out. So I'm very, very appreciative of that, because it's my pleasure to volunteer my time to encourage this generation and the next in autism awareness and disability awareness, acceptance, and inclusion. So it's a very overall excellent day. The reason that I got this opportunity is because I was in Halo this past February at Corona Del Mar Middle School and High School, and that's an annual fundraiser for autism, and I have a YouTube video of this year's performance, and I was in it every year since 2012. And so I received an email, happened to be on my birthday this year, July 22nd, from a person who was in the audience, invited me to this holiday breakfast. So again, I'm very appreciative of today, and I'm excited of how it turned out. Just remember, disability or not, anybody can do whatever they set their heart and mind to do, as long as it's practical. Thank you for watching, and have great holidays.